We're in session and cause number 316012, cause number 316014, and cause number 317174. All three cases are styled the state of Texas versus Terrell D. Reese. Mr. Reese, is that your full name?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reese, how are you doing?
I'm doing.
That's good. Mr. Reese, you're represented in your cases by your attorney, Mr. Tom Burbank. Mr. Burbank is appearing by Zoom. Mr. Burbank, how are you doing?
Doing fine, Judge.
Okay, now, Mr. Burbank, Mr. Reese cases are set on the motion to revoke probation docket. And the court has noted that you have some motions to withdraw as well in these cases.
That's correct, Your Honor.
Yeah, Mr. Burbank, how would you like to proceed?
I'd like the motions to be granted, Judge. I have not communicated with Mr. Reese since the last court date. So I am not prepared at this time, but our communications has ceased. So I would ask that you grant my motion to withdraw.
Now, Mr. Reese, you've been given a copy of his motions to withdraw, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any objections to Mr. Burbank withdrawing as your attorney?
Yes, sir.
You do?
Yes, sir.
And what is your objection?
I mean, like he been working on the case for a while, so I would prefer for him to stay on the case.
Okay, but he's saying that he wants to withdraw because as he stated, I think y'all been having a conflict in communications. And so that in and of itself inhibits his ability to represent you. And so he's asking that he be withdrawn off the case. Mr. Burbank, is this a case that you was hired on or were you appointed?
I was, Judge. There was a felony pending. So I was also on the felony and took on the misdemeanor with the felony.
Okay. So, you have anything else to say, Mr. Reese? Now, is it true and correct what Mr. Burbank is stating regarding his inability to communicate with you?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Okay. Okay. So at this time, the court is going to grant Mr. Burbank's motion to withdraw. And because the court is granting Mr. Burbank's motions to withdraw, at this point, you don't have an attorney. However, now, Mr. Burbank, this will conclude your representation of Mr. Reese in his cases. You're free to go, and you have a
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
Have a great weekend. Thank you, sir.
All right. You're welcome. Now, Mr. Reese, as a defendant, you without attorney, as a defendant without an attorney, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Mr. Daniel Boyd, could you give him a copy of that judge's explanation of rights to defendants without attorney? You got one. Yeah. Okay. Now, Mr. Reese,
Yes, sir.
what you've just been handing out is judge's explanation of rights to defendants without an attorney. Do you see that document?
Yes, sir.
I will go over this document with you. And it reads, as a defendant in the criminal case, you have three options. Number one, you may hire an attorney. Do you understand that case? I mean, that option.
Yes, sir.
Number two, if you do not have enough money to hire an attorney, you may request an attorney be appointed to represent you. Do you understand that option?
Yes, sir.
And number three, you may represent yourself. Do you understand that option?
Yes, sir.
Now, if you want an attorney to represent you and have enough money to hire an attorney, the case will be reset to give you time to do so. If you want an attorney and do not have the money to hire one, you will need to fill out a financial questionnaire so that the proper person can determine whether or not to appoint an attorney to represent you. You may not speak to the prosecutor about your case unless you sign a written waiver of your right to be represented by an attorney. Be aware that there are dangers to self-representation. Waiving your right to an attorney and representing yourself may result in a worse outcome for you and your case, including the loss of significant legal rights and opportunities relating to military service, possession of a firearm, housing and public benefits, child custody, immigration status for non-citizens, and employment. If you choose to proceed without an attorney, you may change your mind at any time and may request counsel from the court. Now, at the bottom of this document, it reads, defendant's choice, mark initials next to only one choice. If your choice is, I want to reset this case to hire my own attorney, then you will put your initials on the first line to the left. If you have already hired an attorney, then you'll put your initials on the second line to the left and the name of the attorney on the line to the right. If your choice is, I want to apply for court-appointed counsel, then you'll put your initials on the third line to the left. If you've already been appointed to court-appointed counsel, you put your initials on the fourth line to the left and the name of the attorney on the fourth line to the right. If your choice is, I want to waive my right to an attorney and represent myself, then you'll put your initials on the fifth line to the left. Now, once you finish initialing one of the 5 lines, you will sign the document where it says defendant, and you will place today's date, December 10th of 2021. Now, there's some pens up there in the tray. You can get one of those pens and you can make your choice. You've made your choice?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, now, Mr. Reese, you want to see if you qualify for court-appointed attorney? Mr. Boyd, there is a document up there that says financial affidavit. Does he have, is there a clipboard there near there?
Don't see it. Don't see it.
Miss, okay,
Is that something important for somebody else?
no, I don't think so. That's the bailiff had that. This, you're gonna take a seat where you were sitting previously and fill it out, and then when you finish, we'll call you back up. So, Mr. Reese, do you still have that, there was an order attached to the motion that we gave you earlier? You still have that? But don't worry about it. It's, yeah, you folded up. Don't worry. Miss Smith, could you go into his file and give